Hi, welcome back. This is codebasket.com. This is the second video in the HTML series, and in this video, we'll be treating two softwares that we need in running this course. Now, the two software that we need in running this course is a text editor and a browser. Now, what is a text editor? Let's go to Google and ask that question. Now, according to Google, a text editor is a system or program that allows user to edit text. Yes, it's just a system or program that allows us to edit text, stuff like that. And on Microsoft PC, like my PC here is using the operating system of Microsoft, and on Microsoft PC, we have a default text editor that comes with our PC, which is called Notepad. So if you go to your Start menu and you search for Notepad, you see Notepad here, and a text editor will appear. So this is a default text editor on Windows operating system, Notepad. Now, apart from Notepad, we have other text editors too as well. Like Sublime Text is a text editor and what have you. So you could just go on Google and search for text editor. You download one if you don't have Notepad on your system or stuff. But I believe every PC, every Windows operating system have Notepad. Mac have its own, and the rest of them. So let's go to the next software that we'll be needing in this class. And the next software that we'll be in need of is a web browser. Now, what then is a web browser? A web browser is a software application for retrieving, presenting, and traversing information resources on the World Wide Web. Now, how we could really understand web browser is that for you to access any site on the web, you have to make use of a web browser. Now, example of a web browser is Mozilla, Internet Explorer, Opera Mini. All these are all examples of a web browser. So you can't access the web without a web browser. That means you can't even access our site if you don't have a web browser. So definitely, I believe we have these two softwares on our PC, which is a web browser and a notepad or a text editor. So having done that, I would like to introduce us in this video before we move on to the next video, what HTML called tags. Now, what is a tag in HTML? A tag in HTML is simply just keyword that is surrounded by the angle bracket. Then now, what then are angle brackets? These are angle brackets, and a tag comes in here. Now, whatsoever is surrounded by the angle bracket in HTML is called HTML tag. Now, HTML makes use of tag, but in HTML language, you will see people interchanging these two words together, HTML tag and HTML element. They are different though. The difference between HTML tag and HTML element is that HTML element is when a tag has opening and closing. That means when a tag comes in pairs. Now, a tag normally comes in pairs in HTML. So, like this is the opening of the tag. Now, then the closing of the tag comes with a forward slash. Then the tag comes in here. Now, this is the opening of the tag. Let's say this is equal to opening tag, and this is equal to closing tag. Yeah, opening tag and closing tag. So when a tag comes in with the open and the closing, you can see that the closing is signified very well by the forward slash that is here. So take note of that. So when a tag comes in pairs like this, it is called HTML element. So for example, HTML itself is a tag. So if I want to write the HTML itself, which is a tag, that is HTML like this. This should be the open of the HTML, and the closing should be this. So if this is the closing of HTML, then whatsoever is coming in between the HTML tag comes in here. So with that, whatever I want to type here, so in there comes in the HTML tag. So these two like this now, these two pairs of the tag is called an HTML element. Now, before we go into the next video, I also like us to understand the difference between an HTML element tag and an empty HTML element tag. Now, an empty HTML element tag is a special kind of HTML tag that does not contain another element in it, and therefore does not come in pairs. Example of this HTML element tag is the BR tag. When a tag comes in like this BR tag is called the line break tag. It only comes like this, and it has no opening and close, so it is just written in that way. Or the HR tag, which is the horizontal row tag. Don't worry about this, you understand it as the series in HTML proceed. So that is HTML tag. So before we go, I would also like us to understand how to save HTML document. Now HTML document is saved into file extension. Now what is file extension? A file extension is the extension that defines what kind of file it is in your document. It classifies the kind of file or document that particular file belongs to in your system. And the file extension normally comes in dots whatsoever it is according to a document. Now in a HTML document, the file extension for HTML document will either be .html or .html. So let's write some basic HTML tag here and save it so that we could see how it really works. So the first HTML tag is HTML. So I can successfully close this, which I've done. Then I go by the HTML head tag. Then I can successfully close it like this. Then I go back to say HTML body tag. Go on like this and close the body tag as well. So these four strings of tag that I just written, which is the HTML tag, the head tag, the body tag, these three kind of HTML tag or HTML element now is called the basic HTML element. That means this is our basic HTML document. Before we start doing anything, we need to do this first. So in the next video, I'll be showing you how we will create our basic document that we'll be using in creating subsequent web pages as we proceed. Now let's see how we could save this. So if we want to save this, we'll go to file, or we'll use Ctrl S on our keyboard, or we'll go to file, I will click on save. And once we click on save, a dialog box like this will appear. As you could see now, it's saving in my document, in my desktop, sorry. So if I want it to save somewhere else, I just go ahead and browse for whatever folder I want it to save there. But for me, I want to save in my desktop so I could easily find it. So now I could not save it as, let me say for example, I could save this now as home. Now if I want to name this particular document home, now the document, our PC will just understand as a normal .txt, but we want it to understand as an HTML document and not just a normal text document. So we need to add the file extension. So and the file extension for HTML language is .html or .html. So now, but here now, our save as type in this notepad is saying .txt. So we have to click all files to make sure that everything is corresponding well. So .html. So if I click save now, so I have successfully saved this in my desktop as .html. So now if I go up now to here and click on and go to my desktop, I could now find the file named home. So look at the file here now, and I can now successfully run it on my browser by clicking on the file, clicking on it, go to open with, and choose the browser that I want to run it with. Like in my system now, I have Firefox browser, I have Internet Explorer browser, and I have Opera Mini browser. So I could just click one of the browser. If I use Firefox, for instance, now it comes up in Firefox for me. So that's how we could save HTML documents, run HTML documents, and now we have understand the two basic softwares that we need in this course as we proceed, which is a text editor and a web browser. So see you in the next video as we treat HTML basic tags. Hi, this is brought to you by codebasket.com, and don't forget every class has its own exercise, file and video for easy comprehending that are made available for members only. So if you're not yet a member, why not visit our website now, www.codebasket.com, and sign up as a member to have access to this exercise videos and files and other additional add-ons. So see you, cheers.